Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fantasy Pros Football Podcast. I'm Bobby Sylvester, as always, with Mike Tagliere, and today we have got a mock draft episode for you. It's not a dynasty draft, it's a regular redraft, season-long episode for you. Mike, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. I'm glad we're doing one of these before the draft hits because, as you know, the draft is going to change the depth chart a little bit for teams. So it will definitely affect the way that we're drafting. But it's nice to get this in beforehand, just so we get a good idea as to where players are now and then where they are after the draft. Because obviously, we're going to be doing some more mock drafts in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm really looking forward to this. I've got my first softball game tonight. We've been rained out like nonstop, and so it's going to be really good to get in the habit of winning here.
Well, you know what? It's funny because I woke up today here I'm in Chicago, obviously, and it snowed this morning. So I had like an inch of snow, and it's supposed to be 73 on Thursday. So go figure. I don't know what's happening with the weather here, but it's awful. I don't know how you're going to play softball. I mean, you're just a little bit south of me, but I can imagine it's very warm there.
It's going to be like at least 40 degrees tonight. So I don't think my bat should probably break. It might. We'll see, though. That's why you got insurance, right?
Yeah, don't pull a hammy.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I can't pull a hammy because I have to do the combine. I know you and Adam Rank were making fun of me, but I'm taking this seriously. And it's not that I have to. Like, I could walk out there and still beat Danny Amendola in 4 categories. I'm going for 4, not 3. But, I was thinking, it's getting so boring playing fantasy football and just winning all the time. It would be more fun if I could, draft myself and score a bunch of touchdowns.
That would be pretty cool, right? I mean, a fantasy draft, we actually did that. So our devs are pretty amazing when it comes to putting things together like that. Yes. And we had a sports day for our Fantasy Pros company trip, and they put together a fantasy game that was based around all of us. And I didn't draft myself in any category. I drafted you actually in the football category. I knew you were going to be a scrappy little Danny Amendola type receiver.
You should have drafted me in baseball, man. That's where I got all the points.
Yep. I think there was a grand slam in there, wasn't there?
It was left-handed too. Don't forget that part.
I do remember that.
Anyway, so what we're doing here, you can see on my screen here, I'm going to go up to NFL, and you all can join with us when we do this. Go to Draft Simulator here, and we're going to be doing a 12-team mock draft. Tags can run down the positions that we're going to be using and everything like that. Click Start a Mock Draft, and you can compete with us. See what your grade is, compare it to us. Tweet us at Mike Tagliere NFL, at Bobby Fantasy Pro. So Tags, what are the position settings?
All right, the position settings, we're going to do this standard 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 2 flex spots. This is what Bobby and I have been doing throughout the offseason, and we highly encourage you guys to, put as many players in the starting lineup as you can for your fantasy football leagues. Because if you're here listening to this podcast right now, you're a diehard, right? And a lot of times that, I like to remind people that you want a skill gap, right? You want to be rewarded for the time that you're putting into fantasy football. And the way to do that is to deepen the rosters, deepen the starting requirements.
Yeah.
If you do that, how deep your roster is going to shine. So we always recommend at least 2 flex positions. If you want to upgrade it, some of my leagues, I actually have 5 wide receivers that we start in them. So, it's really nice. We don't do a defense. We're not going to do kickers. We're only going to do 5 bench spots because, again, the guys that are drafted later in the rounds, those are going to change quite a bit based on the draft. So we wanted to get this in here, see where the values are at right now.
2 questions, Tags. Half PPR, is that correct?
Half PPR, absolutely.
All right. And are we drafting rookies?
We are not drafting rookies. Again, we just want to leave those out because, Saquon Barkley, we might be able to get in the 3rd round just because some of the experts on our platform don't want to rank rookies without knowing where their landing spot is. And that's really fair. We've done it because, we want to give you guys an idea as to what we think. But at the same time, I understand not wanting to rank a rookie running back because going to, the Cleveland Browns, going to the Giants, going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be a big difference for someone like Saquon Barkley. So I don't, I'd rather just leave them out until we know their landing spot.
All right, man. Let's randomize draft order. No cheating. Who do you have?
All right. I just randomized it, and it went slow, and it went down to 9th. I don't like that.
I got 11th. You know what? I'd rather have 11th than 9th, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like being in the middle of the draft, honestly, and I keep saying that. Some people want the beginning, but I always prefer the middle of the draft just because I can see trends as they happen. I don't have to reach at a position. I don't have to reach for a player I want.
Yeah.
More than, half a round or whatever it is. So at 9th, I'm kind of close to the turn, and I don't like it.
I just hate being sniped, man. And I feel like if you're drafting at the end, you don't get sniped as often because you've usually got 2 or 3 guys you want, and you're going to get those 2 guys.
Well, then you have to reach, though, if you really want that player. Like, let's say, for instance, you're at 11, 12, right? You know that that's too early to grab someone like Christian McCaffrey. And let's say that you really want McCaffrey. You're not going to get him at 3-4 turns. So,
Wait. Christian McCaffrey at 10?
No. I'm saying
nobody's doing that.
No. Right. You're not going to do that. But let's say that you really like Christian McCaffrey and you feel
Sure.
like he's going to break out and you feel like he's going to have a better year than his last year, but you don't want to spend, a number 10 pick. You don't want to spend a would it be number 14 or 15 pick on him? But like when you're on the turn there, you have to reach for him if you want him. Otherwise, you are not going to own him. I mean, this is why, Bobby, you and I have talked about auction being the best strategy.
It is.
Like it's the best draft because
Yeah.
you legitimately, no matter where you're at, you get a chance to draft whatever players you want as long as you're willing to spend it. So that's what I'm saying. Towards the turn, it locks you into a certain tier of players, and sometimes you won't get the players that you want because you just don't want to reach, sometimes almost 2 rounds to grab them.
I remember back in the day, one of my friends, he got Michael Vick, Priest Holmes, and Marshall Faulk. And then the rest of his team was like $1 and $2. And we were all wondering how it was going to work. It actually worked out really well for him, and it was a lot of fun. But, that's the kind of thing you can do. And here, you can't do anything like that. Now, here's where we differ, okay? I don't enter a draft saying, these are the 12 players I like. I'm getting these 12 players. I say, these are the 3 players I like at this slot. I'm getting 2 of them in this, in these 4 picks.
Well, that's the thing is like, I agree with you to a certain extent. I believe that there's value in every player. I believe, like some people tell me, they're like, Mike, this guy was on your do not draft list. Why did you draft him in this league? And the reason you'll do that is that I think every player has a value at a certain spot in the draft. Now, some players have to fall further than others. However, there are players that I legitimately say I'm going to own in every single league. Like Stefon Diggs was one of those players last year.
Yeah.
I had people asking me, who are the players that you find yourself drafting in every league? Stefon Diggs was one. I had a lot of Jeremy Maclin. I'm not really proud of that one. That one didn't pan out. But those are the players like you start talking about. It's just like you're getting them at such an incredible steal that you feel like you should have them on every team because you know where their ADP is. Like usually it's guys that are in the middle rounds, right? Those are the guys that are people don't really know how to feel about them. They may be going in the 6th through the 8th round. You might have to reach a round early just to get them, but at the same time, their upside is like a top 20 player next year. You're willing to pay that price.
You've got to give yourself some more credit, man. I mean, you remember you were the person telling everyone to draft Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's just like that was something that I would love to take credit for that. There's misses too. We're gonna hit, we're gonna miss, but it's paying attention to the things, and that's why we on this podcast we talk about the reason things are supposed to happen, the reason I like Kareem Hunt and all that stuff. So we're gonna do the same exact thing this offseason. I hope we find the next Kareem Hunt. I hope we do that again this year.
Well, that would mean someone would have to get hurt, but maybe it can be just someone that everyone's low on and stuff. Spencer Ware, man, he is so good, and nobody is talking about him.
Yeah, no, it's going to be tough for him. I mean, he's like one of the better handcuffs, even though people aren't talking about him. And I know he's coming off a serious injury.
Yeah.
But, there's still a lot to be decided there. But he's the number 2 on the depth chart for Andy Reid. And if something were to happen to Kareem Hunt, Spencer Ware immediately becomes an every single week RB1. So one of the better handcuffs in the league for sure.
All right, man, let's start this thing. You've got the 9th pick overall, and obviously we're not taking rookies, but if you could, let's say Saquon Barkley lands with the Bucs. I think that's probably the most likely team that he ends up with. Would you take him here at 9? And do you agree that it's probably the Bucs?
In my most recent mock draft that went up actually earlier today, that I released that I put Saquon Barkley. I moved him up to the Browns at 4 because, the more we're hearing about it, the more it seems like the Browns don't really have their mindset on anybody at 4. And if that's the case, and, with all the moves that they've made throughout free agency, they could use a left tackle, obviously, with Joe Thomas retiring. They traded away Danny Shelton, but we don't see them taking a left tackle or a defensive tackle at number 4. So if they don't trade back, I see them taking best player available, and that would probably be Barkley. So I do have him going to the Browns in my most recent mock at number 4. If he went to either of the teams, based on what my board is looking at like right now, like the picks that I have in front of me available, Odell Beckham, Julio Jones, Alvin Kamara. Yeah, these guys are still on the board. And the reason with Beckham, he's dropping down draft boards a little bit, obviously with the chance that he gets traded, chance that he holds out, all that stuff. But news today, the Giants started their voluntary offseason program, and Beckham showed up. So Pat Shurmur said he was really happy that he showed up, that he's a professional. So it's obviously moving in the right direction. I think Odell Beckham plays this year. I think he plays for the Giants. I don't think anybody's trading for him. Otherwise, it would have happened already.
Yeah.
So Odell Beckham, I would take over Saquon Barkley no matter where he ends up. So Odell Beckham's going to be my pick here.
Yeah, it's not even close for me either. I mean, it's not like Odell Beckham's not going to play, right? I mean, the worst case scenario for him is that he gets traded. And is that really a bad scenario? I mean, maybe he gets traded to a team where, there's all kinds of teams who could go out and get him, right? The Patriots. If the Patriots went out and got Odell Beckham, I'm taking him number 1.
I was just about to ask you where you take Odell Beckham if he landed with the Patriots, and I mean, I want to say yeah, but I don't know.
He's got the soft tissue stuff too. Like that happens fairly often with him. I don't know if I would take him over Bell and Gurley. I got excited for a minute. And I'm not so sure if that was a wise decision, but Beckham at 1 looks really interesting if Tom Brady's throwing the football instead of Eli Manning. And for those of you who say, well, they're both Hall of Fame quarterbacks, there's a big difference. Like Eli Manning has never been more than a borderline mediocre quarterback. Tom Brady has always been elite, right? There's no comparison.
Well, for sure. And but it goes back though. It's like, how much can Odell Beckham's stock really improve even going to Tom Brady? The reason I say that is because how many targets is he going to get? The first thing I want to look at with a wide receiver is how many targets can I project him for? Not necessarily his efficiency on those targets, but let's start at targets and we'll go from there. I don't know if his targets would actually go up going to Tom Brady. Like they don't tend to focus on one wide receiver in their passing game. So, I think he would become more consistent, which is, honestly, it's been quite ridiculous throughout his career. I've been going through some numbers this offseason, and Odell Beckham, if he continues the pace he's on, he's going to...
Well, he has to play a long time, but in terms of efficiency, he's the best ever. Let me ask you this, Tags. How much did Randy Moss's stock go up when he played with Tom Brady?
Well, obviously, that went through the roof. Randy Moss, the best
Beckham's not
going
to catch like 20 touchdowns like Moss did, but...
It was insane what those two did. Like that was quite a miracle what they had done through that time. So yeah, I don't want to say that he's Randy Moss because he's not. He's a different type of receiver. But I don't think the Patriots are trading for him. So this point's probably moot.
Yeah,
for sure.
So you can see on my screen here, I just clicked hide drafted players here. You can do that so you can see who's the best available. And all the chalk was taken. I was hoping maybe Julio would fall to me. Michael Thomas, I'm a big believer in his consistency from year to year. I know the Saints aren't going to pass as much, but I would love to get Michael Thomas at 11. That's who I was really hoping for. I've got Leonard Fournette here. 23% of the experts say that's who I should take. I'm not taking Kareem Hunt. And the reason why is because there might be a suspension looming. We don't know what's going on with that. Spencer Ware's coming back. He's going to get 40% of the touches. That's what Andy Reid always does in his running attack, unless the only guy he has is Kareem Hunt, and then he's got nobody behind him. That's what we saw last year. It's not going to happen again. Spencer Ware is substantially better than all those guys, and it might even be closer to a 50-50 split. Let's not forget Spencer Ware was as good as Kareem Hunt before he got hurt. So Kareem Hunt, not even in the conversation for me, even if he drops to me at 14. So I'm looking at Leonard Fournette. He's total workhorse. You know what you're going to get out of him. He was injured a little bit last year. Maybe that pops back up. But for me, I've got to take him. Maybe I get Keenan Allen. Maybe I get Mike Evans. If they're both gone, I'll not be too happy about that and probably have to reach for Devontae Adams. But we'll see what happens. I'm pulling the trigger on Fournette here.
Well, I like Fournette. It's funny because he's actually still on my board when I come in the second round, which I'll talk about once we get there. But I started doing some best ball drafts over on Draft. If you guys haven't had that app, we have some links on our site. If you go to like any of my articles, the mock draft article, we have a link there where if you sign up through Draft, you actually get a free $3 entry to a best ball league. And I've been doing some of those recently because I want to get a gauge on where the market's at on all these players. And it's so odd to see guys like Mike Evans, fall down. I got him in a draft legitimately right before we went on. I had a pick at the 2-3 turn. I got Mike Evans and AJ Green at the end of the second, beginning of the third round.
No way. Who are you drafting against?
I kid you not.
Is Blaine in your league?
And this is all for money too, by the way. So it's not like people just screwing around. Like that was my picks, and I took Todd Gurley number 1 overall with the concern on Le'Veon Bell with the contract situation. And then I got those two on the 2-3 turn. So running backs are coming off the board fast and furious in drafts right now. So I would expect that trend to continue as we get closer to the season. So the Fournette pick is not bad at all because sometimes you want to zig when others zag, but at the same time, you probably want to get one of those workhorse running backs on your team.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'd much rather have Odell Beckham at 9 than Fournette at 11. I don't think it's the greatest value, but I think it's the top pick at 11. I don't think I would have taken him at 10. I would have taken Julio or Michael Thomas, maybe Alvin Kamara if he would have fallen to 10. I know some people are saying, oh, of course you got to take Kamara. I'm not really so sure. Tags, don't you think he's in for some pretty significant regression?
He's in for some massive regression. Like the touches are ridiculous.
First rounder, just I don't know if he's a top 10 pick.
I don't even know if I would take him in the first round, to be honest with you. Okay. I was looking at some numbers from the offseason. And again, he's one of those players that popped up on there. And it was just like, wait a minute, Alvin Kamara, I just pulled it up right now in front of me. And there was not a single game in 2017 where Alvin Kamara touched the ball 20 times. Not one.
What?
I swear.
Samaje Perine did it like 4 times.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is so like in week 16, he had 19 touches. That was the most touches he had all season. And when you're not getting 20 touches at all, like ever, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to live up to top 5 running back status. And to get into the first round for me, you better live up to that status. So
he's like half wide receiver too. We don't expect 19 touches from our wide receivers, right?
Right. I also expect the Saints to add a wide receiver. If it's not Cameron Meredith that they signed to a contract, they signed him to an offer sheet that the Bears could match. But
they're grabbing more, man. Everyone's saying they're going to get a quarterback there, Mason Rudolph. Rudolph's not going to be on the board. He's being taken in the first 15 picks. I guarantee that. DJ Moore is going to be sitting there for the Saints. Well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe someone will reach for him, but he's a perfect fit for Drew Brees, man.
I think the Saints are going tight end. I mean, that's where I have them going in the first round because they don't have a second round pick, so they kind of need to hit on a team need.
Well, which one? Because there's like 4 really good tight ends, man. Which one do you like, and which one do you think they're taking?
Well, I put down Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst is the tight end I haven't taken as the first tight end off the board. And I know a lot of people might, say like Gesicki should be there,
or
Dallas Goedert should be there. Even Mark Andrews is in the conversation. But the reason I said Hurst is because I feel like he's the most NFL ready. He's the best receiver like right now. He can track a ball really well. He gets the deep ball. He can be used all over the offense, even as a halfback. Like they've legitimately lined him up in the backfield. So when you think about Sean Payton and what he does to scheme players into space, to move them around the field, I think Hayden Hurst fits that role really, really well. And like you think about it, you have Michael Thomas, you have Alvin Kamara, you have Hayden Hurst in the field. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you stop these guys? So I think they're in it to win it now. I think the Saints know that they have a window with Drew Brees, maybe 2 years. So I think they're going for it. And I think Hayden Hurst is the one that could fill that void, and not necessarily Ben Watson, who they went out and got in free agency.
If you're going for it, though, I don't think that you draft a rookie tight end to plug in because it just doesn't work very well. Now, you're right. Hurst is the most pro-ready, but I don't know if that's the way they're going. We'll see. Let's move on to my second pick here, and I'm debating between A.J. Green's still on the board, okay? Keenan Allen's on the board. Mike Evans is on the board. Who would you take out of these 3 tags? It's so hard. I between the 3 of them, it's like a 3-way tie.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I have AJ Green and Mike Evans really close to each other, like hand in hand. And I didn't.
Keenan Allen's number 3 for me because he's a lot more injury prone. Just because he was healthy last season, don't forget he's injury prone.
Yeah, I actually have Devontae Adams ahead of Keenan Allen. Okay. Like I like Keenan. Devontae Adams is actually in the conversation with Mike Evans and AJ Green. I think Devontae Adams has a chance to be a top 3 fantasy wide receiver this year, and if you can get him in the second round, like be happy with that. But that's the thing is like his ECR is right now it's 18 overall. So it's like, do you take your chances to get him in the third round if you're in like the middle of a draft or whatever? You really can't right now. And I honestly only see Devontae Adams stock moving up as the offseason progresses because people are going to start doing projections and be like, wow, Jordy Nelson's gone. Like, what does this mean? They're not all going to Jimmy Graham. So
hardly honestly, any of them are going to Jimmy Graham. Let's be real.
Those 3 players are in a tier for me. And honestly, I'm okay with any of them. Like, I don't think you'd have any complaints. I think Evans is probably the safest. He seems to be durable. His role in the offense, like he's the type of guy that Jameis trusts. Devontae Adams playing with Rodgers, it's impossible not to trust. And then AJ Green, when he's on the field, he's great.
The best. He's the best.
But the thing is, like Joe Mixon coming on for the Bengals. You have John Ross maybe playing some snaps this year. I don't.
Yeah, they've got Marvin Lewis, man. Nobody knows. Maybe AJ Green will be on the bench this year with Marvin Lewis.
Oh God, I don't want to compare AJ Green and John Ross, but at the same time, I think there's going to be a firing in the middle of the season in Cincinnati. I think that's inevitable. So I mean, that's where that's what I'm saying. It just really comes down to team and how you feel. Like, go with your gut on those 3 guys.
I'm going Green. It's really tough. Maybe tomorrow I would go Evans. Maybe yesterday I would go Devontae Adams. But right now it's AJ Green for me.
No, that's fair. And that's what I'm saying. I really wouldn't complain about any of those picks. And like so when I get on the clock here at 2-4, what I'm looking at is Fournette's there, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans. That's this tier, right? And LeSean McCoy is showing up in my suggested players to consider in our draft wizard tool. I don't like LeSean McCoy this year. I'm not kidding.
Would you draft him in the end of the second round? I wouldn't.
McCoy? No.
Yeah.
McCoy right now, I'm pulling up my running back rankings over here. I have him currently as my number 14 running back. So
I've got him
number
15.
14. Yeah, that's right around in the middle of the third round. That's where I'd feel okay with McCoy, but I'm not really in love with him there because I feel like the Bills are going to draft a running back. I think it could be Sony Michel. I think he would be a great replacement for McCoy. McCoy might be traded, to be honest with you. Like, nothing makes sense about him playing in Buffalo this year. Nothing about it. So I want to get a running back here because I have Beckham, but at the same time, it's so tough because if I pass on Fournette here, I'm looking at a starting running back of maybe someone like Kenyon Drake or Joe Mixon. And as much as I'm okay with those players, it's a good
number 2, not a good number 1.
Right. And that's the thing. So I think it's impossible for me to pass on Fournette here. He's too good. He's a workhorse. He's only going to get better this year. The Jags seem to be, working on the offensive line, getting it built around him. So I do like Fournette, and I feel like he's a first-round pick, so getting him here at 2-4 isn't bad.
So who were you hoping to get here in the third round, and did they drop to you?
Well, that's the thing is I'm really torn, and like the consensus right now is telling me that I'm wrong about someone like Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is down here. The ECR on him is 19. His ADP as of late, like I've been able to get him in the 6th round of best ball drafts. So it's weird. People are trying to tell me, don't take him here. And that kind of tells me that I can wait in the draft where I don't need to take him in the 3rd if I don't want to, even though I think he's worth that.
Yeah.
The players I would consider here, McCaffrey's still available. He's in a half PPR. He's obviously not as valuable as a PPR, but he's still a really good number 2 to put up there. Kelsey is on the board at the end of the 3rd, and Aaron Rodgers is still there. Those are the 3 players that I would consider here. Now, tight end, I feel like Trey Burton is going to be a steal in drafts. I think Hunter Henry is being undervalued in drafts right now. So I don't feel the need to go get Kelsey. I think he lost some upside with Sammy Watkins signing with the Chiefs. I really believe that. And as much as I love Travis Kelsey, the player, that hurts his upside. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
McCaffrey, safe player, sure. But do I think he presents the upside? No, because I think the Carolina Panthers draft a running back, as a matter of fact. And I think it could be as early as the 2nd round where they grab someone like a Nick Chubb. Or like if they pair him with Christian McCaffrey, that's a good 1-2 punch, but it limits upside. So I'm going to, I'm debating. Oh man, I don't know. This is so tough because running back again, I like Mixon.
Just skip a round, man. Just skip your 3rd round pick and go to the 4th.
Skip around. I'm debating Rodgers here, which is really weird for me. I usually don't debate quarterbacks this early, but Rodgers at the end of the 3rd is pretty tempting.
It's a good one. If you want to win this draft, you take Rodgers. If you don't, this is your one chance to beat me.
So the pick predictor is telling me that there's a 52% chance Rodgers is gone by my next pick.
Oh.
At McCaffrey, that there's a 76% chance that he's gone. I believe McCaffrey is going to be gone. I think some people would be okay with him as a RB1. So for me, getting him with Fournette, I have to go McCaffrey here, and I'll take my chances and hope that Rodgers falls. I'm not betting that he does, but I'd be okay with another quarterback, so I'll go McCaffrey.
It's a half PPR as well, so he's going to let up the points for you there. He's consistent week to week. He's always going to get the touches. I love McCaffrey. I wanted McCaffrey or Kelsey or Rodgers. None of them fell. So none of them fell. This is how my draft looks. You can see it right now. I've got Doug Baldwin there, number 26 ECR. That's nice. I don't love Doug Baldwin, but for him to fall this late into the draft, where am I? I'm gonna pick 35 overall. That's a nice value. Josh Gordon, there's upside there. I've already got the upside with AJ Green, and I would prefer somebody safer here. Doug Baldwin's not safe week to week. He's safe overall. Allen Robinson, Derrick Henry, no, obviously that's going to drop. Dez Bryant is looking really tempting to me. I mean, Dez Bryant was a top 20 pick last year, right? And nothing changed. It's not like Dez Bryant is bad all of a sudden. He was just covered by the best cornerbacks in the NFL. So I love Dez Bryant. I'm banking on getting him in my next pick, though. So I'm going to go ahead and take Doug Baldwin here, and hopefully I don't get screwed over again.
I have no issues with Baldwin. I like him. I think he's being a little undervalued. With Paul Richardson leaving, it's going to free up some of those touchdowns in Seattle again. With Jimmy Graham leaving, that's obviously was his go-to end zone target. So there's some targets to be had there. I like Doug Baldwin as a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end 2.
Yeah.
Now, that's the thing is like you laughed off Derrick Henry, but now we're at the end of the 3rd. Like, where do you feel like Derrick Henry should go?
Well, Derrick Henry's not a starting running back, so I'm not taking him in the first 5 rounds.
You don't think he's starting, so you think that Deion Lewis is going to be the one with more touches?
I mean, if you're an NFL team, okay, do you pay Deion Lewis starting running back money to put him behind Derrick Henry?
Well, I think that they're going to be in a timeshare, to be honest. And I think that Derrick Henry is going to get the goal line carries, whereas Deion Lewis will get a lot of the 3rd down work. And that's fine. That's why in a half PPR, I kind of view them similarly. Like I don't think that Deion Lewis is like, I would still probably rather have Derrick Henry, just on the chance that they do use him more because they did spend a 2nd round pick on him in the NFL draft. So, I mean, he's only been in the league for 2 years. He popped in the playoffs.
Upside. Like maybe they just do something weird with Deion Lewis and Derrick Henry still gets 18, 20 touches a game.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, where do you feel comfortable taking him? Like like, are we at the area where you start to consider him?
You have to, because look at the running back board. It's ugly. Joe Mixon, who I'm probably going to take with my next pick, maybe him or Dez Bryant, Carlos Hyde, No, I mean, you just mentioned Saquon Barkley's probably going there. At this point, I mean, if Carlos Hyde ends up being the number one running back, they don't draft a running back until like the third. Yeah, of course I'm taking Carlos Hyde here. Ajayi, no, he's going to split touches. Alex Collins he's solid, 60, 80 yards a week. He's going to get some touchdowns here and there. That's all that he is. I think I'd rather have Derrick Henry than him. So yeah, you start to consider it. I wouldn't be happy about it though.
Yeah, that's the thing is like if Derrick Henry is your RB2, are you happy about that? I think you need some stability around him. If you draft Derrick Henry, I think you need to have guys that have a really high floor around him because I feel like Henry's the type of player where it's like if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's really, really going to hurt your team.
So you're saying your next pick is Frank Gore. You're going to take Derrick Henry and then Frank Gore?
Oh, obviously. Frank Gore is don't draft him.
So
don't do that.
I just talked about how I like Dez Bryant. I like Dez Bryant more than Joe Mixon at this stage. With that said, there are no running backs left. I'm either taking Joe Mixon now or I'm going to end up with like Chris Thompson as my number 2 running back. Yeah. I'm not playing that game. I'm taking Joe Mixon. And you know what? Wherever the Bengals score touchdowns, whether it's Joe Mixon or AJ Green, I've got it now.
I love that. I love the pick. Joe Mixon. I mean, depending on what league you're in, like how competitive your league is, how many people forget about last year, because Joe Mixon, I mentioned it on the podcast with Rank, is that I feel like Mixon is a dark horse to finish the top 5 running back this year. I think people forget how he's a true workhorse. Like he's a 3-down back that can stay on the field. So getting him here, I have no issue. I feel like his floor is RB2 territory. So yeah,
he's an elite talent, man.
Yeah, and the whole Dez Bryant thing, I'm with you. I wrote a Dez Bryant profile last year. You can go and look it up. Just type in Fantasy Pros Tagliere Dez Bryant. Like it'll pop up. And when you do that, go down to the bottom of that article and say that, and it says that if you own Dez Bryant in a dynasty, trade him now, and then after the season, buy him because his stock is going to be at the bottom of the barrel. Right now, Dez Bryant's stock is at the bottom of the barrel. We knew this was going to happen. And a lot of people are saying that it's because Dez can't play the role that they want him to. They can't do this. No, it's not. Do I think that Dez would benefit from moving around the field into the slot? Yeah, I do. I think that there's nothing wrong with moving around a top-tier wide receiver to evade some of the top cornerbacks in the league. The Cowboys don't do that. That's a problem, right? But at the same time, Dez Bryant does not suck. Like, he's not a bad football player.
He's exceptional. And, here's the thing. He might not play for the Cowboys next year. In fact, I'd give it a 50-50 chance that the Cowboys release him after the draft. If they do, where's he going to go?
Could he go to the Patriots? Like, that would be such a Patriot signing.
Man.
Like a red zone target, like if Gronk gets hurt or something like that. I don't know.
I'm also worried he'll have to learn a new playbook then. He'll have to start working with a new quarterback. Maybe he has character issues when he leaves Dallas because they've been watching him so closely. I have no idea how Dez Bryant's going to do if he goes to a different team. It makes me nervous. It's also really exciting.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's the thing is like we saw Dez even when the same offense with Dak Prescott, when he first came back from his foot injury, he had to work with Dak Prescott. And it took, I think it was like around 4 or 5 games where those two weren't quite on the same page. And then all of a sudden things heated up. Dez was great. That's what people are forgetting. The end of the 2016 season for Dez and Dak was awesome.
Yeah.
They're going to add a wide receiver to play opposite Dez. Like they already got Allen Hurns, which is an upgrade over, Terrence Williams. So there's some things going on here. I'm not saying that Dez is going to return to wide receiver 1 status, but I think Dez is being completely overlooked this year. And I don't really think it's fair.
If they use him the right way and he doesn't have the worst matchups ever, he could be a top 8 wide receiver, right?
Oh, he absolutely can. He's the type of wide receiver that can score 15 touchdowns.
Yes. Yep. My point exactly. All right, man. Who are you taking here in the 4th round?
Well, Allen Robinson's still there.
You are cheating. How are you doing this?
That's the thing is Stefon Diggs is still there too. And people would be like, oh, why wouldn't you take Diggs over Allen Robinson? Because I don't think Diggs has as clear a path to targets that Allen Robinson does. Diggs is actually higher in the ECR. He's 4 spots higher. But Allen Robinson, to me, he comes with one of the highest floors that you can ask for in fantasy football. Like he's a receiver that the Bears went out and paid a lot of money for, not as much as they probably should have, but he's locked into 120 targets. So he's finishing as a top 24 wide receiver. It's just a matter of how high can he go? And in Matt Nagy's offense, I believe that this could be a very good thing. So I'm going Allen Robinson here over Stefon Diggs.
I disagree that he's the safest wide receiver out there. And the reason why is he's coming off a major injury, right? I mean, we have no idea if he's going to be the same player. With that being said, he's so young that he could be substantially better than we've ever seen. He's in a way better offense. We'll see what happens. I think it's a killer pick in the 4th round. I'm super jealous. I also would have taken him over Stefon Diggs, who has injury issues himself.
Well, and that's the thing is just like I do expect. I think Stefon Diggs is a better talent than Adam Thielen, and I've talked about that before. And that I think that Stefon Diggs, his skill set matches better with what Kirk Cousins does well. So I think that those two can bond really well. But I also think that that defense is really good. Where that team, I just don't see them having to throw the ball more than 30, 35 times per game. So I think that it's going to be a little volatile in Minnesota. And that's the thing. Like, I believe in Diggs, the receiver. I absolutely do. And, to mention the Robinson injury, he's had a full year to recover from it. It happened in week 1. So obviously he had the entire year to recover. And that's the thing. ACL isn't the surgery that it used to be. Like, we used to wonder, can a player bounce back from an ACL injury and be the same player? I don't think we wonder about that anymore. Like we see these players all the time. Like Jamal Charles came back just as good as he ever was. Adrian Peterson came back, and those are running backs, guys that torque their knees a lot. Wide receivers. I just feel like ACL is one of those injuries that it doesn't really bother me too much anymore. Like that's the thing is, I think it can affect some players, like maybe like a Deshaun Watson. Maybe he won't run as much, but I don't know. I've just seen too many players bounce back from ACLs more than okay, and sometimes even better. So I do. It's more a belief in the offense, and again, those targets are what I'm paying for.
Your pick here in the 5th, Tags, and this is where the draft really stinks. I'm hopefully going to have some rookie running backs in this range that I really like. Otherwise, I'm going to be trying to trade out of these spots. 5th and 6th round here, it is ugly.
Yeah, it is ugly in this range. That's the thing. So Carlos Hyde's still there for me. Now I don't. And again, I have Barkley going there in my mock draft to give you guys an idea as to why I believe that is that Carlos Hyde, when I was waiting for the contract deals the contract details to come out to tell me what the Browns gave to Carlos Hyde, how long the deal was for essentially. And because we know Duke Johnson has just 1 year left with the team. Yeah. He's at the end of his contract next year. So Carlos Hyde, I looked at his deal. They can cut him after this year with just a $2.3 million cap hit. And if you guys have followed the whole the salary cap era here, you know that the Browns have a ton of money in salary cap. So losing 2.3 in salary cap will not matter to them. So Carlos, this is like essentially a 1-year deal for Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson. So he could go there. That's what worries me about Hyde. Like I'm scared to death at this point in the offseason before the draft. I'm scared to draft Hyde there. Jay Ajayi, not in love with him. Like Jay Ajayi, like Doug Peterson has shown you he does not want to commit to one running back. He wants to mix it up. He has Corey Clement there. He has Donnell Pumphrey coming back off his injury. There's just so many questions here. Like Lamar Miller, he's on the board. And I actually think Lamar Miller has gone from the point to where he was overvalued to where now he may be undervalued because if he hasn't been cut yet, I don't think he's getting cut. The depth chart in Houston isn't great. So there's a lot of questions there, right?
Maybe he'll be cut after the draft.
Here's the thing, Bobby. I'm going to tell you right now is I like Rex Burkhead, and I feel like he's one of the most underrated signings that took place this offseason.
Yeah.
So, and he can be had later than this. So I don't need to attack.
I was really hoping you would take him so that your draft grade would be worse. I'm going to need some help here. You're going to need to screw something up for me to catch up to you.
Well, I'm debating Hunter Henry here because Hunter Henry's there. Yeah. I can. You have Michael Crabtree, Sammy Watkins available as wide receivers. I like them. I think Sammy Watkins is going to be better than people think. But I also think Hunter Henry is one of the gems of the draft. I have to keep in mind, though, when we're drafting in these things, use the pick predictor to my advantage. And it says that Hunter Henry, there's only a 17% chance that he's picked before I go. So do I snag Crabtree here, who's about as safe as a floor wide receiver 3 that you can expect? That's where I'm going to go just because there's a 58% chance he's gone, which I expect him to be gone. Like that's just fair to get end of the 5th round to get a guy who's going to see, 110 to 120 targets. I'm good with that. So I will go with him there and hope that Hunter Henry is there on my way back.
Your team is so good, dude. This is cheap. This is so wrong. Every single time we do one of these drafts, man, it's like Aaron Rodgers fell to the 12th round. Look at that.
Don't blame
you, big turd. Yeah, you're right. You're right, man. I'm looking at Hunter Henry too. Again, I think he's going to drop. It's reaching, and it sucks that you have to do it. But you know what? You have to do it. All the other tight ends are off the board that I'm interested in. I'm looking at it here. Hunter Henry, Delaney Walker, no. Kyle Rudolph, who knows? Jack Doyle, Jordan Reed, O.J. Howard, Eric Ebron, who's the second string behind Jack Doyle now. I could wait for Trey Burton, but I definitely have to have Hunter Henry. Now I just have to decide between Jay Ajayi and Alex Collins, because I'm not taking one of these guys, Sammy Watkins, Robert Woods, Jordy Nelson, Devin Funchess. No, I'm not doing that, okay? So let's see here. I'm going to pull up Alex Collins and see what the experts think about Collins compared to Ajayi. 16% to 19%. Let's get rid of Wentz for this round, Nelson for this round, Woods for this round, just so we can see the two compared to each other. It's Ajayi over Collins. That's how I was leaning anyway. I don't think the upside's huge here, but I think he's the better running back in the better offense. So I'm going Ajayi here, third running back.
Yeah, some people have told me that they think that the Eagles might go running back early, like maybe even at the end of the first round if Darius Geis is still on the board, that they might take him there.
Why, if you can use three running backs? I mean, any of these guys.
That's my point, is like, if you're an offense that uses a workhorse, go out there and get yourself a good running back. But the Eagles already gave up some draft capital for Jay Ajayi. They let LeGarrette Blount walk. They obviously didn't feel the need to retain him. Darren Sproles, again, they didn't retain him. I think a lot of people thought last year that the Eagles would go out and get Dalvin Cook, and they didn't. Dalvin Cook fell in the draft. He fell to the middle of the second round. Yeah. And a lot of people said the Eagles were going to take him. Now they have Jay Ajayi. They actually have a better running back situation than they did last year. So I don't see them taking a running back there. So the Ajayi pick can work out. I just feel like it's going to be uglier than people want to admit in terms of the timeshare that they're going to have there in Philly. So
I said I'm going to take Hunter Henry. I was second guessing myself, but I'm just going to do it. I'm taking Hunter Henry now. Is that who you're taking as well, Tags?
Yeah. He's still there for me, so he was definitely going to be the pick. So yeah, Hunter Henry would be on my roster as well.
All right, man. On to the seventh then, and let's hope you screw up this round.
Well, I don't know. So looking at everything, this is the area where it's like, if I can get an elite quarterback in this area, I'll consider it. Like if you can get a Russell Wilson, if you can get maybe a Tom Brady. I mean, I'm a little down on Brady compared to most, but at the same time, the best quarterback on the board now is Breeze, Kirk Cousins, which those two are in the similar area for me. I think Dak Prescott should be in that conversation, depending on what they do, in the draft, if they add a wide receiver. But I mentioned before that I like Rex Burkhead. He's still available here. It's saying that there's an 11% chance that he's taken before my next pick. So I don't feel like I need to go there. So I'm going to take another high target guy, a guy that this is one of those guys where I feel like he might be someone that I tell everybody, I'm going to have this guy on every team. Because he matches the skill set of his new quarterback so well. He's been in the offense now for a couple years, whereas the guys around him haven't. I'm talking about Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder plays the slot role for the Redskins. He's been pretty heavily targeted, even with Kirk Cousins. But when you add in the fact that Josh Doxson is not really a possession receiver, he's kind of that go deep, go over a guy, get it. He's a red zone target. You talk about the other side of the field. They went and got Paul Richardson, a speed guy. I think they're expecting him to lengthen the field, which should open things underneath for Jamison Crowder. Crowder matches what Alex Smith does so well. Smith is he's a precise passer, but he does check down an awful lot. He got better with his deep ball this past offseason, but Jamison Crowder, I feel like he's going to be an undervalued fantasy asset this year, especially if you're talking about half PPR or full PPR leagues.
Crowder's who I'm taking as well, man. It's really easy for me. Cooper Kupp's there too. What do you think about Cooper Kupp now that Brandon Cooks is with the Rams?
I don't think it changes too much for Cook, because the area of the field that he plays on isn't even remotely close to Brandon Cooks. So, I mean, I'm just lower on Brandon Cooks than everybody else. Like, the thing is, I don't think that Brandon Cooks is going to be a very good fantasy option. I feel like he's going to be he'll probably finish as like a low end wide receiver 2, but I wouldn't want to own him as anything more than like a wide receiver 3. And I know that by saying that, I'm not going to own him in any league. It's just not going to happen.
Is Tevin Coleman still on your board?
Yeah.
Okay. So you like Rex Burkhead more than Tevin Coleman?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, I'm taking Tevin Coleman.
Well, that's fair. I mean, the experts actually agree with you. They have him one spot higher than Burkhead. I just think people are sleeping on Burkhead. I mean,
it's close, man. Burkhead is really going to be good this year.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I remember this past year, I was never like a Rex Burkhead guy. So there was a lot of people, like Evan Silva was on the show. He talked about Rex Burkhead. Scott Barrett was arguing with him about Mike Gillislee, and it was a big thing between those two. And I was never a Burkhead guy. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I was. But once you kind of see a trend in New England, you need to ride that trend, right? Because it happens over and over and over again. So when I saw Burkhead starting to steal those snaps and then eventually making Mike Gillislee inactive, It was like Rex Burkhead, welcome to my DFS teams, like every single week. And Rex Burkhead was free money. People kept saying, you don't play Patriots running backs. I'm like, well, I do. Like Rex Burkhead was legit when he was healthy. He got hurt towards the end of the year, and it obviously changed things. But them bringing him back, not bringing back Deion Lewis, it says so much. Adding Jeremy Hill and Mike Gillislee are the competition in the backfield. They'll handle the first, second down stuff. But Rex Burkhead stole Mike Gillislee's job, and they obviously liked him enough to bring him back. So Rex Burkhead, again, he was an RB2 every single week. So to get him as my number 2 flex option all day.
I'm still worried about James White a little bit. I get it. Rex Burkhead is extremely close to me close to Tevin Coleman for me. I don't know why I didn't pronounce his name right, but Tevin Coleman. Let's move on to the 9th round here, and you get to pick before me again. I'm curious to see where you're going here because there's a lot of different routes we could go.
Yeah, this is pretty ugly in this part of the draft because it seems like I waited a little while on quarterback, and obviously it's showing me Roethlisberger, the top ECR for quarterbacks in terms of who's available on the board, according to experts, that is Ben Roethlisberger, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jared Goff, Phillip Rivers. So that's the tier I'm looking in right now.
Mitch Trubisky, you gonna take him?
Trubisky's down there, like he's 25 in ECR. I don't think he needs to be owned in a one quarterback leagues. Like if you're streaming quarterbacks, like Trubisky's going to be perfectly fine. Like if you grab him and pair him with someone like, I actually think Patrick Mahomes, pairing Mahomes and Trubisky, I think can absolutely work. So you know what? I'm not even going to attack quarterback now. I just don't want to. I don't feel like going there right now. So I'm going to take so it comes down to 2 running backs on my board, Jamal Williams and Chris Carson. Carson seems like he might have the Seattle job right now, even though
for at least 1 week.
Right. And that's the issue. Jamal Williams, he could have the starting Green Bay running back job. We don't know. Like that's the thing, is just like we're in this gray area of the offseason where we haven't learned much about the whole Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams thing. So it's hard to do that. I remember last mock draft, you were able to get Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones, and that was smart. I honestly, like I said, I've said this before, and I said it last offseason when we were talking about Spencer Ware and Kareem Hunt. There was such a divide on those two. I'm like, if you could spend a 6th or a 5th and an 8th round pick to grab both of them, do it, because
one of them's going to be an RB1.
Exactly. And that's the thing. That's kind of how I feel with Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones, even though it seems like the fantasy community has Aaron Jones as the better commodity here. So, I mean, Carson, that's what's tough, is that there's no other running back in Seattle that I feel like Carson that could steal his job. So I feel like he's the safer pick here. But I think that Jamal Williams comes with a higher upside.
Well, you know they could sign Christine Michael still. He's sitting out there.
No, he signed with the Colts.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, so that's whatever. or Deshaun Jackson. But you know what? I'm grabbing the running back. I'm going Jamal Williams. I'm just going to go with, I always talk about it. Getting running backs in high scoring offense is always a good thing. So if he takes that job, he'll be worth this pick.
You know, I think Jamal Williams is the least talented of the 3 of them. In fact, if I had to guess right now, I'm banking on Ty Montgomery being the starting running back for the Packers. Everything they've said so far makes me think they still think he's the number 1. He was going into last season. Nothing changed except he was hurt. I mean, Aaron Jones was really good. They expected him to be really good. Ty Montgomery was really good as well. He missed a lot of tackles.
I think the Aaron Jones thing's, I think that's a little overhyped. I don't think he was really good. I think he was, I think he was solid. Right. And I think that's the thing. I think that Jamal Williams was solid too. I don't think Jamal Williams was anything special. It's not to say that Aaron Jones isn't the more talented back, but Aaron Jones had like one good game, like really good game. It was like really dominant, and that's what people remember. But after that, he was kind of mediocre. Again, I don't know who wins that job, but I just feel like it's a very valuable role that you want.
Well, I'm taking Ty Montgomery later. You can bank on that. This round, what I'm going to do, you can see, you know, I'm on the pick predictor screen. That's where I like to draft on Draft Wizard. I'm going to go over here, predict 2 rounds. I want to see who's going to drop 2 rounds because I know who's going to drop 2 picks, right? So since I'm at the end, I'm going to go who's going to drop 2 rounds. The guy I'm looking at is Mohamed Sanu. I only have 3 wide receivers, and I am going to need another one. It looks like he's probably going to be taken. That's rough. I also like Chris Godwin, though. I wouldn't mind him being my number 4. After that, Keelan Cole, not a very good number 4. I like him as a number 5. There's some upside there, but it looks like I'm going to have to draft Sanu at some point. I don't like any of the other guys, Deshaun Jackson, Martavis Bryant. Dede Westbrook is all right. Rashard Matthews, not as interested. Dante Moncrief. So I'm going to go ahead and take Sanu now. Hopefully Andrew Luck drops to me in 2 picks because that's who I'm hoping to pick. If not, such is life. We'll see what happens. Oh, no, I almost took Dante Moncrief instead of Mohamed Sanu. Good thing there's a revert pick button, but that would have been bad.
Yeah. Did you say you hope Andrew Luck's still there?
Yeah.
He
was taken.
I was gonna say I'm looking back in my draft to see where he went, and I don't recall him up there he is. He went in the 7th round of my draft.
This is sad. I blew it, man. Sanu probably would have been there.
Well, in my 10th round, I'm obviously at the point where I'm filling out my bench. I still need a starting quarterback, but I've already kind of yielded to the fact that I'm going to be working with multiple quarterbacks here. I'm just going to do a streaming situation. But I think people are overlooking this one. Like, I don't know why people have dropped him so far down their boards, and that's Deshaun Jackson. Last year, we saw him struggle a little bit with Jameis Winston. It seems like those two just didn't connect yet. But again, we talk about that. The first year in an offense, the first year with a quarterback, it takes time to develop that chemistry. So, and on top of that, Jameis Winston was hurt through parts of the year. I think that really took them back a step. I think that having the entire offseason to work together, I think Deshaun Jackson is going to be a better fantasy asset this year. And to have him on my bench here in the 10th round, it just feels too good to pass up. I would debate Dak Prescott, because I actually think that he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo or Jared Goff. I have him slightly above because of what he does on the ground. But I'm going to Deshaun Jackson here. I'm not even going to debate it anymore.
It's not a bad pick, man. I'm not going to blame you for that. You did skip me, however. I am going to blame you for that. Here's what I'm going to do here, okay? I'm not actually redoing my draft. I just want to see what would have happened. That's something you can do on Draft Wizard is revert pick. First of all, let me say this so you don't think I'm like cheating or anything. I'm taking Deontay Foreman. There's like 4 different ways to pronounce his name, so that's one of them. I'm taking Deontay Foreman. He's a guy that I want in every single draft at this point. I think his ADP is going to rise 40, 50 spots because I think he's going to be the starting running back there. So I'm reverting pick. I'm going to take Andrew Luck and then see if Sanu drops. That way I know if I should really feel bad about myself when I lose.
This is shenanigans. Calling shenanigans.
Well, dude, I'm not actually like keeping it that way. I'm just seeing how it would have gone.
Shenanigans. If you win this draft, I know why.
Sanu would have dropped. Oh, man. I am terrible. All right, so let's punch it back in here. I'm going to take Sanu and be sad with myself. I'll probably take, I don't know, Mitch Trubisky in 5 rounds and then just lose.
Be happy with that.
No, I'm not going to be happy. Okay, so I took Foreman. Now it is back to you, Tegs.
All right. So I took Deshaun Jackson. Then obviously there's a bunch of picks that go on between there. And then it comes back and Dak Prescott is still there. I also have Tariq Cohen on the board. Tariq Cohen is someone that I've mentioned that I feel like he's going to be so undervalued in drafts. I think when you talk about the Bears and that this whole Jordan Howard situation, wherever there's smoke, there's fire, right? It's like following that, and like I think there's a legitimate possibility where Jordan Howard is not as involved as people want to think. And it's not to say that Jordan Howard's a bad running back. It just might be they want a running back on the field who can catch passes, and Jordan Howard has showed time after time that he cannot. That's the thing. Like Leonard Fournette came out of the draft, and people were like, "Oh, he can't catch passes." He showed to at least be competent. He's not going to make one-handed grabs. He's not going to, save a quarterback from making a bad pass like Christian McCaffrey. But Jordan Howard can't even catch the easy ones. Like he was so bad. Like over the last 2 years, he's just looked so bad out of the backfield. So I think Tariq Cohen is going to be really heavily involved. But I already have a running back on my bench. I already have my entire starting lineup filled. So my quarterback that I actually have ranked right there with Drew Brees and Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, he is still available, so I'm going to snag him here.
I'm looking at this picture on my screen of Dak Prescott. He looks a little bit like John, our customer service guy. I never noticed that before.
Oh man, that's funny. I never thought about it either.
Yeah, this picture of Tyler Eifert is not good. If I was planning on drafting him, I would have changed my mind just based on that picture. Now, this is what I'm going to do, okay? I really want Chris Godwin. 29% chance he lasts 2 rounds for me. If that doesn't happen, I am giving up. I am quitting because if I don't get Chris Godwin, it is really ugly. Like I'm going to have to take Zay Jones or something. But anyway, I'm going to risk it. I'm taking Samaje Perine right now. There's no chance he lasts. Maybe he's a workhorse. They probably find a way to get another running back here. But at this point, if you can get a workhorse, a chance at a workhorse, I'll take it. And then Ty Montgomery, I said I was going to take him. And he did last to me, so I'm going to take Ty Montgomery as well.
So that stinks. I really thought that Tariq Cohen was going to fall to me. He did not.
Oh, good. Yes.
That doesn't make me happy. That doesn't make me happy at all.
That is so much work. That is so much better though than me taking Sanu instead of Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
You got to feel a little bit better about yourself.
I do, but I'm still mad about it because now there's no running back on the board that I want. Like, I don't want Frank Gore. I don't want Jonathan Stewart. I don't want LeGarrette Blount, Giovanni Bernard. I don't want any of these guys. Like, seriously, no, I don't. So looking back at the wide receivers, you talked about Chris Godwin. I think Godwin's an interesting one, but I also feel like he's a wide receiver that you're going to end up dropping after a couple weeks unless something happens. Because I actually like Godwin, and I think he's going to be a player in this league. I think he's going to be really good, but I also believe that he's not someone who they're expecting to contribute right away. Like, Deshaun Jackson's still on the roster. So Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson are going to be the top two. You have Cameron Brate. You have OJ Howard, who they want in the field a lot. So there's just
maybe Saquon Barkley as well.
Maybe Saquon Barkley too. So that's all possible. Spencer Ware is someone that I would consider here, but again, I don't know. I'm so torn on this. I am going to grab actually Trey Burton because he is there.
Oh, he was taken like 8 rounds ago in my draft. Are you kidding me?
No, it's showing up in the ECR.
He's like in the 11th. So
he's like the number 16 tight end in ECR right now, where people are sleeping on him. Don't sleep on Trey Burton. I'm okay with him as a tight end 1. So getting him as a backup here, he could actually fill one of my flex spots if I want him to. I think he's going to be really good in this offense.
He's not really
a
tight end, is he?
Not really. They actually plan on lining him up out wide and using like Adam Shaheen as the inline tight end. So Trey Burton's going to be all over the place. They're going to use him similar to the way that Kansas City uses Travis Kelce and the way that the Eagles use Zach Ertz. So, I mean, if you talk about that, Trey Burton is someone who stepped into Zach Ertz's role when Ertz was hurt and just dominated that role. So, like I said, he knows the offense. Mitch Trubisky is like building a relationship with him as we speak.
Yeah.
And it should be a beautiful thing in Chicago.
I like to make fun of you about the Bears offense and how excited you are, just because I'm a St. Louis guy. Like, I root against Chicago sports teams. That's what we're supposed to do. This offense is really exciting. Shaheen, nobody's talking about him. He could be really good in this league. I like him almost as much as I like OJ Howard. Everyone's really excited about OJ Howard. I'll tell you what, Shaheen, he is more upside as a receiver, I think.
Yeah, well, Shaheen was going to be like a breakout candidate of mine. I feel like he's the more traditional tight end. Like, he's a big dude. Like, Trey Burton is built really slim. Like, he's an athletic tight end. But Adam Shaheen was going to be a potential breakout candidate. But the thing is, he's really young, 23, 24 years old. So I just think that the Bears aren't counting on him with production with him right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So I just don't think that they're there, and that's why I think Trey Burton. I think that's why they made it a point to go out and sign Trey Burton, because they knew they were going to need a tight end to step up in the offense. So I do like Shaheen though.
I'm getting my quarterback now. This is my second to last pick. I've got Jimmy Garoppolo, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, who frankly is not in the conversation for me. I don't think he's getting that touchdown rate back up to where it was. Phillip Rivers, I think, is a safe bet year in, year out. Jameis Winston's got some upside. Matt Ryan just had one of the best quarterback seasons of all time, right? 2 years ago. I'm taking Jimmy G, though.
I have no issue with that one. Yeah, Jimmy G he's on my board too for my pick, which I have another debate that I'm trying to work on internally while you make your picks. Are you
going to take a backup quarterback?
Well, I waited on Dak. So, I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, once I feel like if you don't have an elite quarterback, I'm okay with you grabbing one.
I'm not.
It really depends on here. So here's what it depends on. It depends on your league settings, because if you only have a 4-person bench or a 5-person bench, like we're doing in this league, you probably shouldn't draft one. So I actually might not. It really doesn't make too much sense for me to do that. Just because most of the leagues that I play in, we usually have at least like 8 bench spots. And if you have that, what it allows you to do, like if you don't grab someone like Rodgers or Russell Wilson or Tom Brady, maybe Carson Wentz if he's healthy. But that's the thing is, like, outside of that tier, I don't feel comfortable starting a quarterback every week when I know there's streaming options who could perform just as well. So why spend that draft equity to get those guys? Yeah. I would rather wait until I think I got Dak in this draft in like the 11th, maybe the 11th round. So if you spend an 11th and like a 14th or 15th round pick on quarterbacks and combine them into a QB1, like, be happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my last pick here. And, I said I was taking Chris Godwin. I'm actually thinking about Quincy Enunwa. I know that his ECR is number 80 wide receiver, but think about this. If the Jets go out and get Baker Mayfield and Robbie Anderson is in suspension for how long? Who knows? Maybe I don't know. Could he go to jail at this point?
I don't know.
Either way, Quincy Enunwa looks really appealing. With that said, I don't think they're going to draft Baker Mayfield. I'm not going to play the, if and game, but I'm taking Chris Godwin here. Somebody else that stood out to me, DJ Moore. Obviously, we're not taking rookies. I would take him here. I don't care what team he's on. I think he's going to play right away. I think he's NFL ready. Cortland Sutton, same thing. I actually would not be surprised. I know the Packers never take wide receivers in the first round. It's always like defensive interior linemen. Jordy Nelson's gone. I'm not going to be surprised if they go out and get Cortland Sutton, who is a freak of nature. He's huge, and he's really quick. That's a combination that, we've seen it in this league to an extent with Alshon Jeffrey, but nowhere near as much as Cortland Sutton offers it. So I think he could be really exciting in Aaron Rodgers' offense if they go that route. Who knows if they will? I had a lot of people hating my idea of that going on, but maybe the Patriots add him as well. I mean, I could see them going out and getting a wide receiver too.
Well, yeah, no, that's the thing is like the Patriots were someone like that I wanted to mock a wide receiver to, like someone like Christian Kirk. I felt like he would have fit in what the Patriots do really well.
Yeah.
But after they signed Jordan Matthews this past week, I feel like I had to back off of that a little bit because it seems like they're trying to address that in free agency rather than you spending major equity. I know they have some holes in the defense. They're trying to rebuild their offensive line. They lost 2 starting tackles in the draft or in free agency. So they need to address that. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on. I actually think the Packers do draft a wide receiver, and I don't think it's the first round, though. Like the first round, I have them going Derwin James, safety out of Florida State.
Man, that would be wrong if he dropped that far to them.
Well, that's the thing. Some people are telling me that they think that he doesn't fall there. I guess we'll see.
Packers get best player available. Someone's going to drop to them, and that's who they're going to take, right?
Well, that's the thing is I think they want to take a cornerback or a safety to put alongside Clinton Dix. Like I think that if you put James next to him, I think that would be like legitimately one of the best safety duos in all of football.
Yeah.
So they can help make obviously the corners look a little bit better. But I have them drafting James Washington in the second round, and I think that
that's a good fit too.
I think it's a perfect replacement for Jordy Nelson because Nelson was like, he's not known to be like a fast receiver, but he does get separation down the field. You want to know why? He has multiple gears in his routes. And that's the thing. James Washington, a lot of people were disappointed in his 40 time at the combine, but he's a player who continually gets separation on the deep ball because he knows how to adjust his speed throughout his route to create that separation. And he's one of the best over-the-shoulder catchers in football. So him and Rodgers, that would be the ideal replacement. And I think James Washington should last into the middle of the second round where they're drafting.
I like it, man. All right, it's time for you to make your last pick. Then we'll get our draft grades. I've already seen mine, so let's wait and see yours.
Well, actually, you skipped over one of my picks, so I had to make 2 here. But so Spencer Ware would be one of them. So I took him here. And then my last pick, looking at it, I don't feel great about many players. I already have 2 tight ends. I mentioned it. I'm not going to draft a quarterback because we have such a shallow bench. Looking at the running backs, you know what? I'm going to go with a sleeper pick here, running back, and it's someone that nobody's really talked about. It's CJ Prosise. There was a reason that I kind of liked him in the late rounds last year because I felt like CJ Prosise was a running back he can handle a few carries, but I think he's more of that do it on third down. And I think that the Seahawks are going to need that. That offensive line is still bad. The defense is even worse than it's ever been. And I just think that the pass attempts are going to continue to rise. They need a running back to catch those passes. And CJ Prosise was someone they did spend some draft equity on.
It's a really good pick, man. I like your team a lot. I'm excited to see the whole breakdown of what your team is compared to mine. My draft grade's an 87. You beat me, right, by like 8 points.
What's crazy is, like, I was about to tell you that I thought you beat me. I had an 88.
Oh, no way. You beat me by 2 times in a row.
It says a B+. I mean, I'm a little let down by this grade, to be honest with you, because I actually love my team.
It's because Dak Prescott is ECR number 14, and the way that it grades it, it's taking that into effect.
Yeah.
Because we don't have projections at this point yet. So that's not a bad grade. I'm projected to be 4th in my league with waiver wire moves and everything. Yeah, I'm going to move up to number 1. Unless Tags is in my league, then he beats me by 1 point.
For sure. I mean, that's a given, right? But no, yeah. So the final team breakdown is my quarterback, Dak Prescott. As I mentioned, we waited there. That's fine. My running backs, Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey. Wide receivers, Odell Beckham Jr., Allen Robinson, Michael Crabtree. My tight end, Hunter Henry. My 2 starting flex, Jamison Crowder and Rex Burkhead. Again, a lot of people don't like Burkhead, so that that brings down their grade for whatever reason. But Jamal Williams, Deshaun Jackson, Trey Burton, Spencer Ware, and CJ Prosise are my bench.
This is what I've got. Jimmy G is my quarterback. Leonard Fournette and Joe Mixon at starting running back. Backup running backs, Jay Ajayi, Tevin Coleman, Samaje Perine, Deontay Foreman, Ty Montgomery. I got a lot of them. Wide receivers, I got A.J. Green, Doug Baldwin, Jamison Crowder, just like tags. Then all the way down, Mohamed Sanu's my number 4. Chris Godwin's my number 5. That's a little bit sketchy. Tight end, Hunter Henry. So that's my team. I like Tag's team more than 1 point better than mine.
No, I like I said, I was let down. I got a B+.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I had an A, or since I didn't have an A, I should say. So, but yeah, no, it's always good beating you, Bobby. Anytime you want to do a mock draft, I'm down.
All right, man. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Tags, great show, dude. I love you, brother. This is fun, man. I can't wait until the draft. We're so close.
Oh, dude. Yeah, we're now 17 days away, and I could not be more excited to move on to nothing but NFL, because over the past couple of months, it's been,
He's
going
been
back and forth
between hockey.
Yeah, right. No, watching a lot of college tape, going through the draft, doing these mock drafts. Make sure to check that out too. It's really, I put a lot of work into it. I think it's like 7,000 words or something like that, explaining why your team is picking who they're picking. So check it out, fantasypros.com.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm really excited to be doing all these NFL draft episodes and stuff we have coming up. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes if you haven't already. That way you don't miss any of the episodes that we're going to be doing. We've got another one coming out later this week. Several more coming in the next few weeks as well. Thanks for listening, and enjoy your football.
I just wanted you to watch me dissolve.